Hey Kiddo, we are here with Megan Everett, Warframe's community director.
Hi.
We are so happy that we get to meet with you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. The panel's over as we're
Yes.
talking, so I can breathe. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here again. Years in a row, we get to come here and just have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And the panel was amazing,
Thank
very
you.
fun. There was lots of excitement, games, and all that. And
Yeah.
we got some cool deluxe skins
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Verona Prime coming
The
over
girl.
there. And the heirloom,
And
yes,
Mesa. How could
lots of
we
stuff.
forget Mesa
Yeah.
Heirloom? Am I right?
So I think we wanted to talk a little bit about the update, and then we had
Mm-hmm.
some other questions that we wanted to ask as well. So my first question for you is: this week was the Shadowgrapher
Mm-hmm.
update,
Mm-hmm.
Shadowgrapher.
I was gonna say, how are you gonna pronounce that?
I
I
can't stop.
That's what we were calling it.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
Rev's gonna love this.
And there was a lot of feedback this week,
Yes.
and I did personally play it earlier this week, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt similarly.
Yeah.
But I guess the question for you is: how do you guys decide when the feedback comes in,
Yeah.
whether positive or negative, of when is it a time to make a change
Mm-hmm.
and kind of work through that? Because definitely a lot of feedback this week.
Totally. And I think going into releasing Foley's Hunt specifically, like we knew what game mode we were making in terms of we kind of have been saying this for weeks now. Like we know it's going to feel different. We know it's not your typical Warframe jump in, jump out. Like there's there's a little bit of I guess a learning curve in a way of how we've taught you for 13 years, and now you got to do a little something different. And yeah, we definitely I think expected that feedback of like, well, this is different. Obviously, we perhaps were expecting the level at which it was, but it was all like we all understood where people were coming from,
Mhm.
and the team kind of going into it knowing maybe what the feedback points were going to be. Like when we brought the feedback to the dev team, they're like, "Yep, that's exactly what I thought they were gonna maybe not love or maybe not like." So we kind of already had contingency plans of like, okay, if they really, really don't like it, then this is the things that we can do. And for us, there was definitely some things that were broken that we fixed like quicker than like 24 hours. But I do think that first 24-hour period is very important. And what we did see was within that first 24 hours, obviously the initial like not my favorite. Like, get it, got it. But then once you play it, a couple more times, you're like, okay, I'm understanding the balloons, the canvases, the Foleys. Like, I'm kind of getting what's happening here. Because the game mode does kind of toss you in and you kind of have to figure it out, which I know can be a little bit like abrasive at first. But seeing the 24 hours of feedback, you could see a little bit of a shift and be like, okay, at least they're now understanding what it is we're asking of them to do, but there's still X, Y, and Z they don't like. We know we can work on that, and the team was willing to obviously kind of like Foley was invincible, and now she's not to a certain degree. So it's like we had lines that we were ready to kind of cross to make those changes. But I would say like a good 24-hour window is a good kind of waiting period because there is like for lack of a better term, like knee-jerk reactions to something you don't like right away. You're like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever played. So it's a good just kind of let them play around with it because, we see people that said that and then change the tune a little bit. And then we're maybe a bit more constructive. And we're like, we can work with that. We love that.
Yeah.
And then made the changes.
It
Yeah.
was quick though.
Yeah.
It seems
Yeah.
like you guys are always on top of
Yeah,
everything.
especially because typically we try to do an update on a Wednesday. And the last thing we want to do is leave people over the weekend with something they
Right.
don't like or something that's broken. Like we hate hot fixing on a Friday, but we'll do it if we have
Yeah.
to. And yeah, the last thing we want to do is leave someone over the weekend with the same thing if it's that
Right.
highly contested. So we try to be very proactive. We're like constantly talking to the dev team like this is what we're seeing, this is what we're seeing, what are we going to do about it, and talking. So yeah, we're plugged in and locked in on that kind of feedback when again we were kind of expecting a little bit of that. So yeah, we were quick to react. And obviously it's also a shout out to the community for giving us that constructive feedback because without them letting us know exactly what they didn't like about it, we were just kind of in the dark. It was like, well, I can't just say you don't like it, I need a little bit of something
Yeah.
so I can make the
Yeah.
changes, right?
Yeah, for sure. Oh,
After you.
my turn. So my big question that I kind of was thinking of is Warframe celebrated 13 years,
Mm,
and there's a lot of story in it and a lot
Mhm.
of twists and turns.
Mm,
When you guys were first starting to like talk about narratives and the big twists
yeah.
and stuff, were you worried that the community might spoil it for people that would start like we started playing last year and our friends and everyone we met kept every lips shield tight and
Mm,
everything. And just like yeah, it was a worry for the
yeah.
team.
It is, and I honestly, like, I don't I it's, like, baffling to me that it doesn't get spoiled in that way, like, I really don't know how people are able to keep it such a
Yeah.
secret. I know internally we have a lot of discussions about even, like, our marketing material that we're putting out or, that update screen that you get when you first log in, making sure there's not too many spoilers, and we have things in place to be like, if you haven't completed a certain quest, you
Right.
won't be shown this cosmetic or something like that, just so you don't get spoiled, but I honestly have no idea how it doesn't get spoiled, and I would say it's a credit to our community. It's just they are so passionate about the
Yeah.
story, and they know if they were to spoil one of those moments, it would ruin someone's game,
Yeah.
and how they played the game. So it's a credit to the community, and I think as well we kind of poke fun at how, like, Warframe's, like, naming of things is so, like, random and, like, hilarious.
Yeah.
So it almost helps that, like, nothing makes sense in the naming. So if you were to see something like, drive by in chat, you're like, "I don't know what that means, but it doesn't mean anything to
Yeah,
me," and you
that's a
just
great
kinda, like,
point.
keep going on.
Yeah.
Unless someone were to, like, write out a moment, then that would be a different thing, but, yeah, even for people who, like, start streaming the game who are, like, super new, no one comes into
Yeah,
their
we
chat and be like, "Da, da, 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 you're about to whatever." Like,
Yeah.
no one does that. They're just like, they're gonna experience something crazy right now, and it's great. It's great.
Sweet.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, just to add to that, like we've had people on our podcast and everything, and
Mhm.
what we've noticed is a lot of people just love seeing
Mm.
people go
Mhm.
through the story beats
Mhm.
as well. Like it's like obviously you can play the story, like some of the story
Mm.
beats again if
Yeah.
you want to, but like people just love watching other people like
Mhm.
That
find.
vicariously first reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
think it's like it's been 13 years, and so or like even what is it, 10 years now since Second Dream or whatever that timeline
Mhm.
is. So it's like to watch someone go through the Second Dream, you're like, oh my God, this was 10 years ago. Like, what
Yeah,
was I going through 10 years? So
right.
it's
Yeah.
really special. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've kind of all been new to this in a
Mhm.
way, like um a little bit of backstory, but we went to the panel last year at
Mm.
PAX East, and
Mhm.
we had we were all kind of new to the game and stuff like that, and we finished that panel and we were like, "Oh, we're Warframe now. We just want to do."
We're in.
Yeah,
I think it took 2 months for us from to start the story and finish everything.
Whoa, that's actually pretty quick.
We
That's
like,
dedication.
once you hit that point,
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
like second dream
Mm.
pretty much.
You're like,
That's just where everything
I'm in. Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah,
exactly.
skyrockets.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
get hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my question too, since it has been 13 years, like, why do you think that like the community has just been so strong with this
Mm.
game and stuff like that?
Oh.
Like,
I mean, I wish I knew the secret
I
as to
know
Everyone
why.
does.
Yeah,
it's
like I wish I could write it down on a piece of paper, but
right.
it's like I don't know. And I think I mean, if I could pick out things that I think maybe help is that the people who play the game are so passionate about the game, and a lot of people, like I still see people in chat that have played from the beginning. Maybe
Mhm.
they've obviously taken a break and come back, but there are people that have stayed around for so long, and I think it helps that we've been so front facing for so long. Like
Yeah.
we were like one of the first people on Twitch for doing like a dev stream type of thing back in 13 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
And we've been doing them for
Yeah.
194 of them.
Yeah.
And all our like, little streams and console streams. And so we've just tried to like let people know like us as humans, we're like, we're making a game that we hope you love. We love it as well. Like, let's get excited about it. Let's do it together. Like that was
Mhm.
always something from the very beginning was we're going to build this game together. Like they helped us keep our lights on. So we want to make this game for them. We want to also be excited about it and,
Yeah.
not spoil anything and keep the story going because we got like the next 2 years planned out of like
Oh wow.
where it wants to go. So very exciting. But yeah, I wish I knew the secret formula and the
Yeah.
secret sauce, but I really think it comes down to people thankfully just believing in us as a company and as a team. And obviously, we made that big switch a few years ago with the High Guard going to Soulframe and making Soulframe, and us
Mhm.
coming up and making Warframe. And that was super scary because it was like
Of
that could have been the
course.
end. They could have been like,
Yeah.
nope, we don't want those people making Warframe. See you later. Like it
Yeah.
could all end tomorrow, you know? Thankfully, it doesn't. Knock on wood. But yeah, I don't know. The community is so passionate, and we want to make the game for them, and I hope that they continue with us for another 13 years. Wouldn't that be fun?
I mean, the fact that we came in a year ago
Mm,
and we've just been, like, getting a taste of the community in a way, and it's just been so welcoming,
mhm,
and I think that also
mm,
brings it to it, is, like, even starting players have, like, a place to go.
yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of games right now where it feels like they have been going for 10,
mm,
15 years or
mhm,
whatever, and there is 15 years of content to get
mhm,
through, or it's just, like, unattainable to get to,
right,
right?
yeah,
Um, and, like, it does feel like there is some sort of that for Warframe, but
mhm.
it's more like the community will hold your hand through it,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
like, it's gonna be an impossible task every single time we put out an update of how do we get a player into this and not have them have to play the entire
Yeah,
story, like,
yeah.
it's a 13-year-old game, yes, it can be overwhelming to jump in and try to figure it all out, but as you're saying, like, there's people almost right away in the chat that are like, "You want help?" Like, you jump into a mission and that person's probably gonna stick with you to, like, help you
Yeah,
play it, and that as a testament to the players and I guess the community that we've built and tried to foster, trying to make it as safe as a and fun, enjoyable space as we can, and hopefully we're there. But yeah, it's a struggle for sure. Every time we do an update, like even Shadowgrapher, we're like, okay, where's it going to go in the story? How many hours is that for a player? And like, how do we
mhm,
set them up for success? And along the way, we'll try and do those new player experience stuff to try and get them easier to that new content.
right.
So we're always trying to think about that because we do eventually have to add in content that is at the end of where the
Yes.
story is currently, and you
Yeah.
have to play all of the quests to get there, so it's a
Yeah.
battle. It's really
Yeah, for sure. I do find that there are, like, missions, though, that, like, you don't have to do right
correct.
away,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Like, there is kind of, like, a linear story
Mhm.
that's happening, but, like, there's obviously things that you can hold off on, but
Mhm.
are still amazing,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
that and we did a big overhaul, it was last year, of that kinda, like, star chart progression of, like, you don't
Mhm.
have to do everything, but here's the best path to get you to that new content.
Yeah.
Yes, you can go off on your own and do X, Y, and Z, but this is the direct path to the new content, and I
Right.
think that was super helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys
Yes.
okay.
So just kind of playing off of that with like new and returning
Mm.
players. Old Peace was one of the first
Mm.
times when missions were offered for
Right.
new and returning players.
Mhm.
What kind of made you guys go that route? And
Yeah.
it's probably a big decision to make to offer
Yeah,
that.
especially because we had a lot of learnings from Duviri, where we put it at the very beginning of the game and was like, "This could be fun," and we truly believe that it could be fun, and I always had this imagination of, like, someone who started Warframe, did Duviri first, and then when they got to a certain part in the game, saw something and it, like, connected dots, like, I always had this vision, that never happened, but, at least I've never seen it happen, but, yeah, we learned a lot from that in terms of like the story is so important and the tutorialization of Warframe and how to move and how to mod now, like that's all very important parts of the game. And we learned very quickly, and why we took Deviri out of the beginning was there does need to be a little bit of that hand holding to begin with, and then you can kind of get into it. So for Old Peace and the Dark Refractor and Descendia missions, that was kind of this is our learnings from what we did with Duviri. Let's try it again a little bit. But one of the biggest feedback we got was that when we put Duviri in, no one could help them, right? Like it was
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
you were in it and you're just like,
Yeah.
"What? Where am I? Like what's happening?" You couldn't have someone there with you to help you. And so that was one of the big things with the old piece was that you had to have someone obviously taxi you into it. And it could be your friend. It could be, that friend that finally wanted to get you into Warframe. Like, this new update just came out and you can actually play the mission. I can bring you in and I can like protect you and tell you what's going on. And it became this kind of like team building, getting your friend into the game. So I think experimenting with that kind of approach to it was the route we wanted to take, and that turned out to be very successful as opposed to just putting someone into Veery, which is already confusing to begin with.
Yeah. Can we maybe predict that there'll be future things like that coming for returning or new players?
Yeah, I think so. I think we have to, honestly, with again just 13 years of content, and again adding that end game and story content of having to play all that. We do have to experiment with how can we get the person that's ready into the game and the person that's halfway and the person that's because like you put so much effort into marketing and hyping up these updates. There's people who are like, oh my god, I want to play this. Okay, I got 100 hours to go, guys. Like, I'll see you in a month. And that's obviously not a great feeling. So I can definitely say that, we'll keep experimenting with that. And again, we got the learnings from Duviri, we got the learnings from Old Peace, and hopefully we can continue to kind of find a middle ground and do that.
Glad to hear it. Anyone else? You want more?
This is kind of just fun for fun. Yeah, like
I love a
I
fun
love
question.
fun questions, right? So like we can spawn a motorcycle now and drive in literally any map. You can.
Which was a bug. Now
I
it's a
know.
feature.
I love that. It was a bug that you guys were like, you know what? Have fun.
Have fun.
And
Break the game.
you can be a fairy. Like, was there any ideas that you like started to put in the game and then I was like, this might be too much?
I honestly think proto frames, like,
Yeah.
those are probably the scariest thing that
I
we
could imagine.
did, especially like when you're developing things in secret, obviously, not telling people what's going on. It was because proto frames for the longest time, like 10 years at that point or whatever, 12 years. We were hardcore. There's not humans, da da da. Like we were so hardcore about that and trying. Like people obviously drew their fan art and stuff, and that's great. But we were like, thematically, they're not humans. And then we're like, okay, so guys, guess what? JK, they're humans. Yeah, they kind of are. There's a whole arc. So yeah, that was really scary and risky. But I think it's like our community, we have such a big fan artist community, and people really attach to like their original characters and like who they make their character to be. And so putting that more human element into it was obviously like very successful. We're very happy with how that turned out. But I think when we were talking about it and developing it, we're like, ooh, this could either go really good or really bad, and they could really hate it, and then we'll never do it again. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is like you could try something and it doesn't work, and then you're like, okay, maybe we never do that again, or we tweak that a little bit. So proto frames are really scary. And I think just like we joke about it sometimes with Jeff Crooks, who was our lead animator. He's on Soulframe now, where like back in the day, he was he was a stickler for like, not no fun, but like emotes probably would not exist until we like forced Jeff to be like, come on, like let them shake their hips, like let's have a good time, because he was like, no, it's not Warframe. And so those are just like fun, examples of things that probably would have never happened until we got further into the game.
Yeah.
What was fashion considered one of those too then?
I would actually say so. Like, especially what you look at fashion.
Yeah.
Like we just saw Mesa Heirloom. Like, come on, I don't know about that. But yeah, I think that's just evolution of a game.
Yep.
And I mean, seeing what your players like obviously helps. But like we just put out 2 skins that are like mechs, right? Like there's so many variables, and Mesa's like half naked, but like come on, you gotta dip your toe in all of it. And yeah, just take risks, honestly, is what we have to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I
Love that.
Yeah.
One more?
You think?
Yeah.
No.
He was going to talk about Mesa Heirloom.
I
He was
think
gonna
so.
go off on that.
All right. Well, I think that is pretty much all that we have for you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me and coming to the panel. I hope you
Yes.
enjoyed.
Very much looking forward to all of the new stuff and the unannounced updates.
That's right. The announced, unannounced 2026 update.
Our favorite joke.
Yeah, it'll never die. We'll do that for the next 13 years.
Sweet.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.